What up everybody, it's your boy Nautical. Welcome back to Destiny 2 Beta. So I wanted to put this video out. It's going into the 21st, so a lot of people that didn't pre-order Destiny 2 are gonna get their first chance to play the beta at 2 p.m. today. Now in this video, I'm not gonna go over graphical comparisons. I actually have a video up on my channel right now that you can go and look at if you wanna see the difference between a PS4 Pro and an Xbox One S. Like I said in that video, not a fair comparison, but all you gotta do is just know that the PS4 Pro is substantially a better console than the Xbox One S, and you will see the benefits of it with a 4K TV, but the PS4 isn't that much better than the Xbox One S, especially when it comes to the graphical side. You're just getting 4K assets, 4K textures, and a little bit more horsepower under the hood. But going forward, we're going to talk about PvP and PvE, and we're going to do that separately. So first, we're going to start out with PvE. So when it comes to the PvE side of it, first thing you're going to do is you're going to jump in, you're going to pick the actual class you want to play with, Hunter, Warlock, or Titan. My gameplays, I started with Hunters, and they are drastically different play styles this time around. You could kind of tell that they wanted to refine the way that the subclass worked a little bit more and make them a little bit more unique to the actual gameplay that you're getting from that class. All the way from the Hunter having a dodge ability to the Titan having its barrier shield that goes low or high, and then your Warlock putting the healing rift or the buff rift, where the rift where it does more damage when you're standing inside of it. Those are all gameplay aspects that they actually added into the game that I really enjoy. It really makes you feel like you're a part of the game when you make those tactical decisions, and when they pay off, it's very gratifying to see it happen in game. I know Bungie made a point to talk about it on their forums that they wanted your movement and the things you did and any ability you use to actually have a purpose. If you succeeded in it, it was gratifying because it was something you set up and something you worked for to see it play out the way you wanted it to, and it goes exactly to plan. But you get a lot of chances to do a lot of these different abilities in the story campaign. I really like the fact that a story mission had a story in it. It was very refreshing, especially for a Destiny game. They've been doing very well with this over the last 2 years, but this seems like another evolution in the step that they're making with Destiny 2. The fact that you fighting with Zavala at the steps on the tower, he drops his shield and you are protected from the blast, and he's generating orbs for you to use your super to see how more powerful you are, which, if you didn't know, if you want to practice your super use, stay up there the whole time until you get used to your super, because you will always get super energy from every time he drops that bubble, and it happens like probably once every minute and a half when they bombard the area. So practice up there if you want to. And he isn't the only one you interact with. You interact with K6 when he's gunning down 3 Cabal right in front of you. Ikora is going after the Red Legion that she's trying to find the speaker, and you get to see her throw a Nova Bomb. So you got a chance to see all of the main characters from the original Destiny that were just NPCs interacting in the game, and you get to see how powerful they are as Guardians. So that was a really nice thing to see. And then the fact that they actually opened up that door that Xur is always standing in front of when he comes on Fridays, that we never knew what was behind it, and you got a chance to see like the backside of the actual tower, which looks like a market with neon lights and everything. So that was really cool. And then just the actual banter in between your ghost and all the extra characters that are actually talking to you in the game, and just the cinematics looked amazing. I can't say enough about the actual story element they put, and just how you felt and how powerful you felt during that one mission, which was the homecoming mission. It's the first mission in the game, and you also get a chance to see the main protagonist, which is Gull, and he is very ruthless and kicks you off the top of the tower, as you can see. But the story mission was really good. Now I can't really speak too much on where the strike sits in that, because you know, in Destiny you kind of don't know where the strike sits in the story, so it kind of seems like it's a little disjointed, because you don't know exactly where it goes in the story. Where the first story mission, you know, it's the first story mission, so you know anything after that is going to be after that. But the strike was another beast in itself, and the one thing I really liked about the strike overall was the fact that it was long. It was about a good 20 minutes long. I mean, even the story mission was 25 minutes long. The strike seemed like it was just as long. And the first thing I took is when you first land down on the actual planet of Nessus, you actually see the vast open area. You see the draw distance that is available to the system by it not being tied to old gen platforms. Now, I do want to talk about something that people complain about in the story mission and in the strike when it comes to just wave-based combat. You know, you put your ghost there and he is scanning something and he's trying to break in, and you're sitting there defending him until he cracks a code or opens a door or whatever, thing like that. That is kind of a first-person shooter trait, and it's like in every first-person shooter. The only difference is some people don't notice that if you don't have an objective to open a door or to hold a spot, basically what the game is doing to you is it's making you have to either do that, or it's going to make you push forward until you get to a certain part on the map. It starts to despawn enemies, and until that happens, you will always be fighting enemies in that area. So I don't know which one is better. Is it better to have wave base when you know it's coming, or is it better to just fight your way and move forward? And if you move forward fast enough, you won't have to stay there that long. So it's a give or take thing, but it's something that happens in every first person shooter, and I do see that as being one of the downfalls to what people don't like about the Destiny gameplay. And Destiny's not guilty of that only too. It's a bunch of other games that are. Now, like I was saying about the strike, it's actually really cool, especially the very end of it. You get this 3-stage boss battle where the floors fall out, and you basically, it's tied to his health. So as his health gets lower, you tear all the way down to the bottom floor, and he really attacks you on that last stage. The one thing I don't like about the strike is the part where I said you feel powerful as a guardian. That's very true when it comes to your super, but that's only when you get your super. The supercharge abilities in this game are slow, really slow. Like, maybe get your super in the 25-minute strike twice, maybe 3 times. And God forgive you need a grenade or any other type of ability when you absolutely need it. The game probably won't have it available for you because it's just so horrendously slow for all that stuff to recharge. I think it definitely needs to be buffed, especially in PvE, just because that's what PvE is. It should be a no holds barred thing in PvE. They shouldn't restrict you in your ability to, you know, destroy everything around you with your abilities, with your weapons and everything. And especially since they did change the way that the actual weapon economy works in the game by having no more special weapons. Everything that was a special weapon before is in a power slot, with the exception of sidearms, and now they added submachine guns and everything too, but those can be in both slots. And then in your secondary spot now, which they call the energy slot, is where all your elemental primaries and stuff are. So they really changed it, and it does not feel satisfying to pluck away at a boss with 2 primary weapons with no heavy weapon ammo. That sucks. It feels like you're shooting at something for 20 minutes when it doesn't need to take that long. So I think that's something they definitely need to adjust in PvE, but that's really the only problem I have with PvE, is just the fact that your abilities take forever. And the one thing we always known about Destiny 1 is you always want to be able to have that ability when you want it, because that was the way you inflicted mass damage on everything around you. And I think that's something that's sorely missing right now in Destiny 2. But guess what? Just to give you an update, Luke Smith actually came out and said they already adjusted the way heavy ammo works in PvE, so we shouldn't see this issue going forward when the full release comes out on September 6th. So the PvE side is not that bad, but what about the PvP side? Well, let's dive into that. The first thing I want to say about PvP in the Crucible is, man, 4v4 feels really good. It feels natural. You can tell that they really balanced the games around the maps. You can play Countdown on one map, you can play Control on another map, and those maps feel like they are best played with those game modes. And that is really nice to see, because I really think that was one of the biggest problems in Destiny 1. Maps were being played on game types that they shouldn't be played on. Game types were being played on maps they shouldn't be played on. And that was definitely a downfall to Destiny 1. But it looks like they fixed a lot of those issues so far, what we see. in Destiny 2's beta. It's only a small sample size of 2 maps, but they are moving in the right direction. Now, the one thing that I really wanted to stress to you guys is the Crucible is still the same Crucible. The only difference is the way you play it. It is a completely different way of playing in a Crucible now. Team shotting is probably the #1 thing you want to do. You want to make sure you pick a loadout that is specialized to what you want to do. The fact that heavy ammo doesn't pick up for everybody is a really big deal, but it also makes it less chaotic. Once you pick up heavy, you know that person that picked up heavy, you know what kind of weapon he has, you know what area of the map he picked it up in, and you have all that information right in the kill feed as soon as that happens. Same thing for the other team. But the one thing I really like about it is if you have, like, say the shotgun and the other team has the sniper, well, if you and your team are really good at team shotting, you can take their sniper out really quick. And guess what? The person with the shotgun has free reign on the map as long as he has ammo. And yes, you still have to play tactical with the shotgun, but how does it feel to be running around with the only shotgun on the map that has ammo? That's not a real thing that we saw in Destiny 1. Same thing with fusion rifles. The fusion rifle, the main ingredient, is amazing. It feels more powerful just because you don't have anything to counter you out there when they don't have heavy to do it with. So it's very, very strategic when it comes to actually controlling those spawns. You have to control the heavy spawns, or if you don't do that, you at least need to make sure you pick up one of them so you have a way to combat the other team somewhat. And that really just comes down to gun skill in the end. Some people are going to outplay you, but you can outplay more people in this game by just being smart about it. And that's one thing that a lot of people in Destiny, especially the casual people that just played in the Crucible just to play for friends and everything, they really have to get used to that. And one of the only downfalls I see in the Crucible is the fact that certain classes are just terrible. They need to be buffed. Like whenever I pull out my Arc Strider and I pop the super, I feel slow, like noticeably slow. Like compared to the Titan, when he goes to his super, his agility looks like it goes through the roof and he can run super fast. But the thing is, even with the supers, you can still run away from them. So I guess that's not really a bad thing, but it's a very stark contrast between what Destiny 1 was and what this game is. You can actually run from a super in this game. You don't have to take that hit from a super. I think the only super that you really can't run away from is Golden Gun. And even then, if they don't have the perk that makes it more accurate, they miss those shots. I see people miss me from halfway across the map where that would have been a kill in D1. But ultimately, it's going to come down to your play style and how you play in the game. The grenades don't one-hit kill you anymore. Certain weapons are really good, like the pulse rifles, the Nightshade, and the Nurgle are really good. If you get any one of those, you're gonna love pulse rifles. Use those guns as much as you can because those are the god tier weapons in the beta right now. So my biggest advice for anybody going into the Crucible is play smart. Don't go in running around with your head cut off because you'll find yourself in a lot of losing battles because a lot of people that are playing the game right now are running together and there's no chance that you're pretty much going to win any of those battles. You may get lucky every once in a while, and trust me, when you do, it feels really good. But don't bank your Crucible career on that. So the last thing I want to talk about in the Crucible is the game mode. So we had Control, which is more like zone control, and we had Countdown. Countdown is probably going to be the more competitive version of the game. They do have it under the competitive banner where it is more high intensity gameplay, single elimination, but you can do revives up to 4 revives until you run out, then you can't pick up anymore. I think it's the first to 6 to win. I've seen it go to 7, I believe, sometimes too, but I think you got to win by 2. But those games are really intense. They go really fast. And honestly, in Crucible, the Crucible maps go really fast. Like 8 minutes goes by like a blink of an eye. You will see yourself getting a lot of XP from games and matches, and you'll get a lot of packages depending on how they actually set it up so you can get experience from these actual games that you're playing in. But just the overall experience of these game modes, they're 2 different game modes, 2 different audiences are going to play them, but they're both really fun. Countdown is definitely one of my favorites. If you want to go sweat in Countdown. Where you want to just play casually and just have fun and run around and do a just run around with your head cut off, you want to go into zone control /control. that game mode, even knowing it is still very competitive in there, it's still the easier mode to play in because of just the nature of just having to capture 3 points, and there's only 4 people on the map, and it's a little harder to actually do that. Plus they actually cap the 2 home spawns right off the back, so it's basically a beeline to B to see what team can cap it first. But both game modes played really well. I enjoyed both of them. I played on both systems. The actual competition was really good on both systems, and I really enjoyed playing the first 2-3 days of this beta. So the only other thing I could think of that I wanted to talk about in this beta was the fact that the aim assist feels like it's been lessened. Anybody that's played Destiny 1 knows what the aim assist felt like in that game. This game, I'm not gonna say it's completely gone or it's broken or anything. It just felt like they turned it down a lot, at least by half. It doesn't feel as sticky as it did before. And me personally, I like that. I like the fact that the aim assist has been turned down. It's really gonna come down to your gunplay and how you are really adapted aiming your weapon at people's heads. And I know that's gonna be a turnoff for a lot of people, but it still is in the game. But it seems like it's really lessened, and I hope they keep it that way. But I do understand a lot of people out there are going to probably say that they want that turned back up because that is one of the only ways they could be competitive in the game, and that's cool. But I definitely wanted to bring that to your attention and let you guys know exactly how I feel about the Destiny 2 beta. I definitely can't wait till September 6th to actually play the full version of the game. Make sure you go into the forums and leave your feedback. Talk to them all on Twitter and tell them what you think about the beta over the next couple of days. And let's welcome all of these brand new people to the beta that didn't go out and pre-order it, and let them know how much fun we've been having in this game for the last 2-3 days playing it before anybody else. So guys, what do you think? Are you gonna still pick up Destiny 2? Do you think this game is for you? Let's talk about it in the comment section. Also, what was the first class you made? Did you make a Titan first, a Hunter first, a Warlock? What subclass did you go to? Let's talk about that in the comment section too. I really appreciate you watching this video, guys. Make sure you sub to the channel if you haven't. Make sure you like this video if you haven't. Turn on email notifications. It's gonna let you know the next time my video goes live. It's your boy Nautical. You guys have a great weekend, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.